Thomas thought he had taken back his morning.
No scrolling. No panic. No borrowed urgency.
For the first time, the morning belonged to him. Taking back 1 hour did not mean he owned the whole day.
It only showed him what ownership felt like. By the time he reached the city, everything was already asking for him. Messages, schedules, small emergencies that were not really emergencies.
The world did not look like a thief.
Then the first interruption arrived.
Not loud. Not dramatic.
Just a small pull.
And that was how attention disappeared.
And for the first time, he saw that attention could be directed. By then, Thomas had already stepped into the role they expected. "Quick question," the coworker said.
It was never a quick question.
It became a small conversation.
Then a correction. Then a mental reset. I hadn't seen the whole picture until now. Everything makes sense. He had lost the thread. And sometimes, a broken thread costs more than a broken plan.
He tried to return to the work. Then he noticed the phone again.
So he made distraction less convenient.
Sure. Not impossible. Yeah. The drawer remains closed and the pen and notebook on the desk stay.
Just less automatic.
And for a few minutes, the world became quieter.
Work began to move again. Then the office found another way in. Nobody asked if his mind was ready. They only asked if his body was in the chair. In the background, there are low, indistinct meeting. At first, he listened. By then, the room was full, but Thomas felt strangely alone. We disagree with these projections.
This data doesn't align.
Let's review the summary again. A report became a debate.
And in the middle of it, Thomas understood something. Attention was a currency.
And he had been spending it without checking the price.
The thought stayed with him after the meeting ended. He had not been lazy. He had simply been available to everything. Available to questions. Available to approval. Available to the fear of being left out. So he began to count what no one else counted. He counted attention leaks. Every glance had a cost. Every open angle invited interruption. Every easy habit became a doorway.
And every doorway needed a lock. He did not need a complicated system.
At lunch, the old habit returned again. His hand wanted the screen. But discomfort was not danger. Silence only felt strange because he had stopped practicing it. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. And that was the lesson. Peace did not arrive loudly. It arrived as a little more space between impulse and action.
A small pause became a small freedom.
And the afternoon began differently. One person nearly interrupted him.
People can feel when a man is unavailable to nonsense.
He was not being cold. He was becoming clear. What is spending you before you spend your money? For years, Thomas had called it busyness. But busyness was not the same as value. Movement could hide avoidance. So he chose one thing. One task. One block of time. One promise to himself.
And the work finally moved. Not because the world became easier,
but because he stopped donating his mind to every passing demand. By late afternoon, something felt different. The phone was still there. But for the first time, it waited for him. The meeting ended. But the real question stayed.
what had the day really given him?
The meeting is over. The decisions have been made. Now comes the time for careful thought and preparation.
Some losses do not look dramatic.
They look like full calendars, polite meetings, and tired evenings. And over time, they start to feel normal. Normal is often the most expensive disguise.
Because when something steals from you slowly, you stop calling it theft.
The walk after work is a choice, a deliberate path toward myself. You call it reward. But that night, Thomas called it by a different name. Not because he had no goals, but because too many small things were living in their place. A purchase was never just a price. It was also a direction. And from that night on, he stopped asking only what things cost. He started asking what they were costing him. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to The Quiet Millionaire. The next morning, nothing outside had changed. But something inside him had become less available to noise. He did not begin with discipline. He began with distance. The morning ritual is important. It sets the tone for the day. Focusing on the small details ensures everything is in its proper place. The modern office lobby hummed softly in the morning light, as Thomas walked with a quiet confidence and upright posture. He held the means to change everything, but the weight of his decision stayed his hand. For the first time, not buying something felt like gaining something.
That night, he wrote one more thing.
If it steals my peace, it is too expensive. That rule did not make him rich overnight, but it made him harder to manipulate. And maybe that is where wealth begins. Not in what you own, but in what no longer owns you.
If this story stayed with you, subscribe to The Quiet Millionaire.
The morning holds a quiet promise. A new venture begins.
The chaos of the world feels distant now. Keep these lessons close. We've built something great together. The time we spend apart is also time we spend learning.
And that's where Thomas's journey comes to an end, for now.